In my opinion, most people ask the wrong version of this exact question. They ask how much they need to start the wheel strategy. The more important question is how much they need to start correctly with a reserve, with a quality stock, and with real risk management in place. And those, in my opinion, are different numbers. If you just want to open an account and technically sell a put, you could do it for $1,000, but that version of the wheel strategy has so little margin for error that one bad assignment can freeze the entire account for months or years. Here's what the real threshold looks like and what each level actually allows you to accomplish. The wheel strategy requires you to hold cash as collateral equal to your strike price times 100 shares. One contract on a stock at 25 requires 2,500. One contract at a $30 stock, 3,000. One contract at 40. 4,000, right? That collateral isn't lost. It sits in your account backing the obligation, but it's tied up for the duration of the trade, which means any capital you're using as collateral is capital that can't do anything else during that period, unless you're earning interest with it. This is why account size matters beyond just being able to enter a trade. The question isn't whether you have enough to open one position. It's whether you have enough to manage the position through adverse outcomes and still have the capital available to operate. Look, the options market doesn't require a minimum account size for cash secured puts, right? The discipline of running the strategy properly actually does. So here's my framework and how I used to evaluate whether, an account is ready for the wheel strategy. 3 conditions must be met before the first trade. First, there's enough capital to hold collateral on one position in a quality stock priced between $20 and $40 a share. Second, there's a reserve, capital that never enters a position and exists solely to absorb unexpected outcomes. And third, if the position gets assigned, there's still enough capital in reserves to continue operating without panic. The reserve is not optional. It's the difference between a bad quarter and a total disaster. Without it, a single bad assignment means 100% of your capital is frozen in the covered call phase with no ability to generate new income or manage with position flexibility. A 20 to 25% reserve against deployable capital is my floor. That means to deploy $4,000 into a position, you need a total account size of around $500 to $5,300. The extra $1,000 to $1,300 isn't idle. It's the buffer that keeps the strategy intact when inevitably something goes wrong. The absolute minimum, $2,500. $2,500 allows you to sell one put on a stock trading at 25 with no reserve. And it's technically possible and, educationally useful, but operationally it's the most fragile version of this whole thing. No reserve, obviously. If the position goes against you, 100% of your capital is in one trade. If the stock declines 15% after you're assigned, you have no flexibility. The covered call phase runs on $2,500 in a position that may take months or years to recover. At this level, paper trading the mechanics while adding to the account is often the more productive use of your time. The habits learned on a $2,500 account are identical to $10,000, right? The capital constraint doesn't teach you anything different. It just adds stress to your life, all right? The functional minimum, in my opinion, is $500 to $7,500, right? $5,000 is where the strategy becomes workable. With $1,000 to $1,500 held in reserve, you have $3,500 to $4,000 deployable. That opens quality stocks in the $30 to $35 range. The kind of businesses with some actual earnings, dividends, and options chains liquid enough to exercise, without excessive bid-ask friction, right? One position at this account size, no diversification, but the reserve still exists and a bad assignment doesn't freeze the account entirely, right? The covered call phase on an assigned position still generates some nice premium for us every single month while that reserve earns interest on the side. Make sure you set that up for yourself. This, in my opinion, is the level where real learning actually starts to happen on your real capital. But it gets interesting at 10,000. At 10,000, the structure changes, right? 2,000 in reserve, 8,000 deployed, supports 2 quality positions in that $30 to $40 stock price range. Now the strategy has some actual portfolio behavior. If only one position gets assigned, the other continues generating put premiums. The covered call phase on the assigned position doesn't freeze us, okay? At 25K, the account supports 4 to 5 positions with some nice reserves, right? We get some sector diversification in there, right? Multiple expirations start getting staggered, right? The simultaneous assignment of 2 put positions is an inconvenience rather than a crisis. And this is the level where the wheel starts to really feel like a portfolio strategy rather than just like a single trade exercise. Now, below $50,000, the wheel, in my opinion, is primarily a learning and skill building tool. The monthly income is nice, but it's modest. At 50,000 with 40K deployed across 4 to 5 positions, making around 2% monthly, that income starts to run up to almost $1,000. That's some nice supplemental income, and the strategy has enough positions to actually absorb some bad outcomes that inevitably will happen, okay? Above 50K, the income starts being significant relative to most household budgets, in my opinion. The compounding effect of reinvesting that income obviously accelerates account growth. The reserve does its job without feeling like drag on the returns. $2,500, of course, is a minimum. $500 to $7,500 is like the functional minimum where you can actually practice the strategy with appropriate reserves. 10K is where you start seeing some nice portfolio behavior. 50K is where the income, starts becoming a lot more interesting, all right? Most people who blow up small accounts do it at 25 to 5K, trying to run a strategy designed for 10K plus. They take the largest position possible, skip the reserves, they choose stocks by premium and return on collateral rather than quality, and that capital is too small to absorb any negative things that happen. The money you need isn't just for collateral, okay? It's literally for the reserve that keeps you rational, okay? When the positions inevitably go against you. Without it, the strategy works great until the first real problem, and then it just completely freezes you. I believe in starting smaller than most people are comfortable with and building the habit before scaling your capital. The discipline of maintaining a reserve, checking quality before opening the chain, and waiting for the right technical setup is the same exact thing, whether you're doing it with 5K or a million, right? The account size changes the income. The process is identical either way. I got 2 questions for you guys down below in the comments. Number 1, what account size did you start the wheel strategy with? And looking back, was the reserve discipline in place from the beginning or something you learned the hard way? And number 2, if you're currently below the $5,000, functional minimum, are you paper trading to practice, right, the mechanics of everything while you build up your capital, or are you waiting until you have enough before starting? Let us know down below in the comments. We always have great conversations down there. Also, if you're brand new to all this stuff, I break it all down in plain, easy to understand English in our ARC Option Strategy Workshop. At the end, you get my full 15 favorite stocks under $30, my 2 premium calculators, and my full trade lock template. So if you're interested in all those free gifts, click the first link in the description of today's video. Guys, remember, sell options, collect premiums, repeat. I'll see y'all tomorrow.